All right, welcome to week 2. Today's the day we move from theory into real hands-on practice. We're going to be building an absolutely foundational tool for your compliance work, the AI Risk Heatmap. You know, mastering this will give you the power to create and maintain a genuine culture of compliant, responsible AI use throughout your entire organization.
So, by the end of this module, you're going to walk away with a whole new set of practical skills. You'll understand the core principles behind AI risk scoring, you'll learn how to use the triage command ledger, you'll create your own risk heat map from scratch, and you'll be able to confidently assign that critical red, yellow, or green status to any AI tool you have. Let's get started.
Here's our roadmap for today. It's all designed to build your skills one step at a time. We'll start by connecting back to last week's inventory. From there, we'll dive into the mechanics of risk scoring, then we'll apply that knowledge to build the actual risk heat map. Finally, we'll talk about what this all means for your compliance posture and lay out your next steps. Last week, you did that absolutely essential work of creating an inventory of all the AI systems operating in your organization. That was the what. This week, we're focused on the so what. We are taking that list and turning it into a concrete, actionable plan to manage risk.
This is step 2 in our 7-week journey together. And the heat map we're building today? Look, it's not just another spreadsheet. Think of it as your command center for AI governance. It's the practical, living document that will guide your decisions around safety, ethics, and legal protection under California law.
Okay, let's get into the core concepts. Because to manage risk, you first have to be able to measure it. So we're going to use a simple quantitative scoring system. This gives every single AI tool a number that represents its potential for harm or its level of safety. This slide really illustrates our whole method. I want you to think of the triage command ledger like a balance scale. On one side, we add points for specific risk factors that weigh it down. And on the other side, we subtract points for the safety controls you have in place. That final score tells us immediately whether the tool is weighted more toward risk or more toward safety.
And here is where we move from abstract ideas to concrete numbers. For instance, if an AI tool makes automated decisions about people, that's a big deal. It gets a high-risk score of plus 30 points. If it processes protected health information, that's your PHI under HIPAA, it gets another plus 25 points. But on the flip side, having properly trained staff, that's a powerful safety control. That subtracts 25 points from the total.
So, after you do the math, that final score places each tool into one of 3 very clear categories. A score from 0 to 30 is green, which means the risk is managed. 31 to 60 is yellow, which tells you the risk is elevated and it needs action. But anything 61 or higher is red. That's a dangerous vulnerability that demands your immediate attention. Okay, now for the practical application. We're going to take this exact scoring system and use it to build your AI risk heat map. Remember, this is your master document, your command center for all things related to AI safety and compliance. And this is the template. You're going to populate this with the tools you identified in your week 1 inventory. For each tool, we'll calculate a score, assign a status, and, this is the most important part, define the immediate next action. That final column is what transforms your heat map from just a report into a proactive compliance roadmap. Let's walk through one together. Imagine your clinic is using a new AI tool called FaithCare AI to help triage patient inquiries. How do we figure out its risk score? Well, we just walk through the ledger step by step. Okay, first question. Does FaithCare AI process patient data? Yes, it does, so we add 25 points for PHI. Second, does it make automated decisions? Yes, so we add another 30 points. Third, is there a solid vendor contract in place? Let's say in this scenario, not yet. So we add 20 more points. But you've trained your staff on its limitations. That is a critical control, so we subtract 25 points. So let's do the math. 25 plus 30 plus 20 gets us to 75. Then we subtract the 25 for training, and that gives us a final risk score of 50. Now let's see how this actually populates your heat map. So our quick math got us to a score of 50, but on this completed example, you'll notice the final score is actually 78. That's because a full, formal assessment considers all the factors on the ledger, and a score of 78 places FaithCare AI squarely in the red category. This is a critical vulnerability. But the heat map doesn't just identify the problem, does it? It assigns the next action. Week 4, apply kill switch from PDF 4. This transforms a risk into a clear, prioritized task.
All right, let's pause for a moment of reflection. We've just moved from the theory of risk to the hard reality of your operations. It's time to really connect this to your own compliance posture. I want you to take a moment and seriously consider this question. If you found a red status tool in your organization and it was just left unmanaged, what are the real-world consequences? I mean, think about client privacy, potential data breaches, or your legal liability under California's Privacy Rights Act, the CPRA.
Now, think about this. How does a tool like this Heatmap completely change the conversations you have with your leadership or your board? Instead of just saying, I feel like this tool is risky, you can now walk in and say, this tool has a risk score of 78, placing it in the red zone. Our compliance protocol requires immediate action. See? It changes everything.
Let's wrap up. We have covered some really significant ground today, and you are making real, measurable progress toward building a robust AI governance program for your organization.
Just look at what you've accomplished. You've taken your inventory, you've systematically scored each tool, you've assigned a clear triage status, and in doing so, you've created a priority action matrix. This is a huge step forward.
And with that, week 2 is officially complete. You have just activated a key component of your AI safety and enforcement arsenal. So your task now is to complete this heat map for every single tool in your inventory. The data you generate is going to guide our next logical step in week 3, where we'll be tackling consent banners. I look forward to continuing our work then.